Welcome to the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce Education Committee Network's PAC 14 TV show, Education is Everybody's Business. My name is Dr. Ladd Colston. I am a member of the Chamber and the CEO of Sustainable Visions, LLC. I am your host for today's educational topic, which is, what is quality childcare and where can we find it? Sponsored by the Community Foundation of the Eastern Shore, our Chamber CEO Bill Chambers, and our Education Committee Network members, we want this TV show to be a source of community awareness and knowledge of topics that impact education and workforce development here on the Lower Eastern Shore. We appreciate you listening in and providing us with your feedback. You can find replays of this program and other programs that we have recorded of Education is Everybody's Business. Go to PAC 14 YouTube page. If you can, please subscribe if you're viewing this show on the YouTube PAC 14 page. In this broadcast, we will feature 4 child care organizational directors that will share their resources, their services, their expertise, and their experiences in the provision of quality child care services here on the Eastern Shore. As our first guest, let me introduce Ms. Leslie Sinclair. Welcome.
Thanks for asking me.
Ms. Sinclair is the director of the Eastern Shore Child Care Resource Center. It's based at Salisbury University. And as a grant-funded agency, it's a regional resource center, correct? Mm-hmm. Works with child care providers and early childhood directors to promote quality child care here on the Eastern Shore. My first question for our listening audience is, what is quality child care and how is it defined?
Well, I can tell you that there's so many measures of quality depending on the family and the preference, their interests, their culture. And so families would describe quality differently. Mm-hmm. But the state of Maryland has a measure of quality called the Maryland Excels. And so there are sections of Excels that set a standard for quality, beginning with basic licensing requirements, and then moving from there to increase the professionalism of child care providers based on quality of their environment, the program that they offer, the administrative environment, the policies that they have in place, and the safety and general developmentally appropriate environment that they have.
Wow. Yeah. Fantastic. So it's comprehensive.
Right, and programs can move up in Excels, move up in levels, and so it's a progression, and mm-hmm. they don't have to do it all at one time, a little bit at a time, and there are guidelines for that online, and we also provide support for that from our office.
Wonderful. As a Maryland Regional Resource Center, mm-hmm.
What
types of training and technical assistance does the Resource Center provide?
So the classes that we offer to child care providers are those that meet the requirements of the state. The training has to be approved. We share trainings among the 8 resource centers in the state, and so we have a good selection. So there are not a lot of repeats. The classes provide clock hours, and the clock hours meet the requirements for each of the providers and based on where they are in the credentialing system, which is another pathway to professionalism for individuals, not programs, but mm-hmm. as Excels is. And so we provide classes that help them move up.
Are these classes held right on campus at Salisbury University?
Correct. Yes, we have training rooms right here on East Campus. But we also will go to someone's location if they want to offer something to their entire staff. We will go there. We will travel from Kent County to Somerset County and work on a Saturday or an evening when someone wants to schedule something. We bring our own materials and we set up and have a 2 or 3 hour session and then call it done.
Fantastic. I understand that the resource center that you have also works with families.
Yes, we do.
And so, as a child's first teacher, that's what the parent is,
Right.
what types of resources do you provide to families and how can they access them?
So families contact us to help them to find childcare. You know, it's difficult to find childcare, especially for infants and the young children. And so when parents run up against the difficulty and they need help, they contact us. We'd like them to call us right away. There is a locate number. You can find locate childcare online also. But we have someone in our office who will speak with that person and help them through the entire process of filling out the application to provide someone. It's like a little matchmaking system where they
Okay.
hook the child up with the provider that is best suited to the choices of the family and the needs of the child. And so we will do that. We will also help them navigate other systems that, like child care assistance, if there's an application process, a lot of documents that they have to gather and put together. So we will assist them with that. We can help them find other things like WIC or food stamps or assistance in groceries and also rental assistance. So we have access to other resources that we can direct them to.
Fantastic. Now, I understand that the Eastern Shore is considered a child care desert, if you will.
Yes.
So there are not many facilities out there. And I understand that there's a strategy now to finance or to support home-based
Right.
child care. Would
Right.
you like to elaborate on what's on the horizon with that?
This has been a very exciting program. We received a planning grant back in March, and so we used the period of March to through the end of August to identify where it is that we found here in our region to be the areas where they do have these childcare deserts where childcare cannot be found and parents are having great difficulty. And so we identified the region, the counties that were found to really need childcare with the help of the Beacon Center here on campus. They did some surveys for us and put together a presentation so that we knew what we were talking about when we went to write our next grant. We also worked with the GIS group from the geography department, and they put together a mapping program for us so that it's a dynamic map. So you can look for childcare in various forms. Those would be home-based care or center-based care. So we can identify where those are. We can also identify where the most need is based on population because we've divided the counties by population. And so it's been a very interesting process. So we did all this work, or we were helped with all this work to identify where it is that childcare is needed. And now we wrote into our next grant to bring in people who want to open home-based programs. And so when they contact us at openchildcaretoday.com, and there would be a small survey, and we get in touch with them to set up an orientation and to talk to them about the benefits of opening their small business, the way that they can contribute to the community, and also help the child care problem.
Tell me a little bit more about that open in-home child care.
So we have a website that you can go to, and it's called openchildcaretoday.com. And when you open the website, you can read a little bit about what we're offering and what's involved, and then fill out some information at the bottom, and we will get in touch with you.
All right, for those that may be interested in developing your own small business providing child care services, are there any other resources that you would like to let our listening audience know that's available here, not only in Wycomico County, but also on the Lower Eastern Shore?
So what the Eastern Shore Child Care Resource Center has is an on-site resource center, meaning there are materials there that child care educators can borrow. They can come in and use the laminator. They can create materials in our workspace or create certain aspects of what they're making back at their own place. We have a die cut machine. We have printers. If they want to use our Wi-Fi, they can come on in and use our computers. We have some laptops that are available to them. We also have resources that teachers might need if they're looking to create maybe a new unit, or they want to work on something that involves books that they may not have. They can borrow books from us. So we have a good, a well-stocked resource center that child care educators are welcome to please come in and use. Families are also welcome. They come in and see what it is that we have and see how they can work it into the activities that they do at home with their own children.
And I saw where you actually have a newsletter. I think it's called something Chat.
It's called the Childcare Chat.
Yes.
And in the newsletter, we publish our training dates and locations. So that's one thing. We have a location here in Salisbury. We also have a location up in Y Mills at the Eastern Shore Higher Ed Building, Higher Education Center. That's at Chesapeake College. And so we have 2 offices, and so we can serve the community that's in the north area and that down here in the lower shore.
So if people are interested in reading about you, they can go onto your website and actually access that newsletter?
Yes.
Because I found it very informative.
Oh, I'm glad you looked at it.
Yes.
The website is easternshoreccrc.org.
All right.
And you can go to that site and check out our training and who works for us and what we do and other aspects of our agency.
Outstanding. It's great to have a resource like this, and here locally, right here at Salisbury University. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you coming. Now we will feature our second guest, Mrs. Vanessa Batson. And it just brings me pleasure to just note to our listening audience that Miss Batson is a graduate from the Wycomico County Public School System. I think it was Y-High, is that correct?
Yes.
And has become a successful local entrepreneur. She is the founder and director of the Little Leaders University, one, if not the largest daycare, childcare center here in Salisbury, with over 100 students enrolled. Is that correct?
112 to be exact.
112 students enrolled. Whew. I also like to note that this year, Miss Batson was named as a Maryland Young Entrepreneur of the Year by the Baltimore District of the U.S. Small Business Administration. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Oh, boy. So to get us started, especially with our listening audience, tell us a little bit about the Little Leaders University.
So basically, we're an early childhood education center. I don't like to call it a daycare center because we are curriculum based. All of our teachers are many of our teachers are currently studying for their CDA, which is equivalent to an associate's degree in early childhood education. We have been around for about 5 years now. June of this past year was our 5th year. So we've been very successful at it. We have a great team of teachers, great students, great parents. Our ages range from 6 weeks old all the way to 12 years old. Wow. Yeah, it's a big gap.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving parts every day, but definitely worth it. Definitely worth it.
And I understand you're a licensed child care facility.
Yes, we are licensed by the state of Maryland, and we are currently undergoing accreditation, where we will be an accredited facility.
Great. Well, that's fantastic, because the Eastern Shore has been identified as a desert, if you will, for child care. There's just not enough out here, and it is a critical concern and issue with many families, both in our Wycomico County and throughout the lower shore. So we appreciate you and all that you're doing.
Thank you.
The state of Maryland is currently going through this thing called R4K, Readiness for Kindergarten. They've even instituted this KRA, I love these acronyms, Kindergarten Readiness Assessment.
Yes.
And they've got this big theme entitled Readiness Matters.
Yes.
What are some of the readiness skills that you provide at Little Leaders University?
So we actually line up with the public school systems, kindergarten readiness matters programs. We follow the same curriculum. We're making sure that kids have fine motor skills, math, social skills. Located next to us is actually occupational therapist for children. So we partner with her as well, and we had her speech therapist. She comes over, she pulls children out who are have speech delays. She works with them every week. We have the Birth to Five program that we work with as well. They'll come into the center, they'll assess children, or children go get assessed with Birth to Five. They'll come in, give us a plan of things to do to help the children get on track. I think the main and most important thing is for the children to show up every single day. As long as they show up every single day, we can work with them. We know what they need help with. And as long as it's a parent-teacher relationship, then it can be successful. But we definitely align up. We've had public school teachers come in, train our teachers on how to effectively write lesson plans. If you have a child with an IEP, how to include them in the lesson plans. I think incorporating all of those things is how from 6 weeks old all the way up to kindergarten, that's how we get the kid ready for kindergarten.
So it sounds like you have a nice, smooth transitional process.
Yes, a very, very, very smooth transition.
Moving the kids right on into the public schools of the K through 12, if you will.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Tell me, you've been in business for a while, 5 years.
Yes.
That's significant, and you've done extremely well. You've been recognized statewide.
Yes.
Tell me, as a director, in this day and age, with the kids that are coming through the system, what is the biggest challenge?
The biggest challenge that I have seen in my five years of successfully preparing a child is if we don't have a parent who is involved. If a parent isn't 100% involved, backing the child up, it's going to be very hard for that child to be successful. Working in whatever field you're in, after so long, it becomes a system to you. You know exactly, we meet a child from day one. We're like, hey, Mom, we see that speech is a problem. Or, hey, Mom, we're having these types of behavior problems. Or, hey, Mom, your child is 3 and still biting. That's not normal. Getting those diagnoses early on will, so that way from, if your child is diagnosed at 2 years old rather than 5, they've lost 3 years in between of getting that occupational therapy that they needed. And so that delays them even more. And then we send them into the public school system where this teacher now has 25 kids in the classroom and has a child who hasn't been diagnosed, who all of the signs are there, but she doesn't have any diagnosis on the child. So the child she's treating the child, not per se regular, but she's not catering to that child's needs because she doesn't have a diagnosis for the child. So I think definitely early on being involved 100% at home, making sure you're reading 20 minutes every day to a child, that makes a big difference. At home, making sure that if a teacher, sends home a piece of paper, hey, can you do this with your child today? Making sure that you actually do it and send it back. I think that's the biggest thing in making sure everything starts at home. So if a parent isn't working with their child at home and only at, if they go to daycare, early childhood learning center, wherever they go, if they only haven't that time to work on whatever it is that needs to be worked on, then it's going to be hard.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard, especially when, like I always tell parents, it's hard to cater to your one child when it's 20 other children in the classroom.
Exactly.
It's only so much that one person can do.
Well, tell me, do you have any parent or family activities that you sponsor through Little Leaders University?
Yes. So before, of course, the pandemic, we did a lot with our children. We went swimming once a week at the YMCA. We had different people come in and read to our children. Different family activities, family events. This past October, we did trunk or treat with our families, which was probably the first event that we've been able to do since the pandemic, because so many different viruses and things came along after the pandemic. But definitely, this coming year, we plan on partnering with the Judy Center and having them come to our center, or we take trips to them. Again, incorporating the YMCA in with us, different play groups, just different activities and things for it to be accessible to children. Our goal for my 2024 goal is to become a universal pre-K center where all of our children will attend the center for free. That is our 2024 goal, and all our teachers are obtaining their CDA and getting certified so that we can go ahead and become a certified pre-K center.
Well, I love that vision.
Thank you.
I love that vision, and I'm sure it's welcomed here in Wycomico County and on the Eastern Shore. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Your university, and we wish you the best.
Thank you so much.
Always.
I appreciate it.
Please join me in welcoming our third guest, Mrs. Trina Tillman Dix. Ms. Dix is currently the coordinator of the Judy Center Partnership in the Wycomico County Public School System. Welcome. I'm glad to have you. For most of us, we are unaware of the Judy Center. So, what is it conceptually, and how did it come about?
Well, and thank you for having me today. I'm honored to be here in this position, not only with you in the studio, but for our county. And I just want to talk a little bit about like what the Judy Center is, because a lot of people, as they think it's a place, but it really is a concept. And so when it was thought about what can we do for our students and our families in the community, it started with Judith P. Hoyer. She is actually the wife of Steny Hoyer, and it just went on from there. Him and Governor Paris Glendening, they came together and in 1997 opened the first Judy Center, which is actually housed now in Prince George's County in Adelphi, Maryland.
Wow. Are there any qualifications for student enrollment?
So for student enrollment into our public school systems, there are qualifications. Okay. All students, if you're entering into Y3, which is our 3-year-old transition program, you have to be 3 by September 1. The same with our pre-kindergarten 4 program. And then 5, you have to be 5 entering into our kindergarten program. In our Title I schools, and with this grant, as well as other grants that we have in the county, they have to meet the income requirements. Okay. So that is usually done in our enrollment office, and the requirements come down from the Maryland State Department of Education.
Wonderful.
But for a Judy Center, there is really no requirements, even though we do work with families from a low economic background. We kind of work with anyone because we find now, even in today's society, that a lot of people are needing the resources that we have that we can offer, and just networking with our partners to find out what they're doing and how they can help our families. And there are 12 component standards that were developed from the state of Maryland that we must follow. The first one is full day, full year services. That is offering services all year long. So that's our summer program when kids are out of school. That's the full year services when they are in school. Play groups, I think I mentioned before. And then meals, providing meals. I know I talked a little bit about that. Case management services, that is providing that extension to helping families reach those services that they need. Integration of early education services. Family engagement, so that's talking about your play groups, family game nights, learning parties, food distribution, community baby showers, and the early childhood fair that we're planning for now for April. Early identification and intervention for children with disabilities. That is huge and it's very important. Health-related services, that dental and vision screening. And then professional development for our early childhood educators and our community members. And then adult education and career services. And then last but not least is accreditation and partnership with our community partners, Childcare and our public school.
Very comprehensive.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Full.
It's full.
It is full.
What are some of the partnership services that our Wycomico County Public School Judy Centers provide? And where are I think there are 2 Judy Centers? Where are they located?
So let me just start with where we are first.
Okay.
Because a lot of people will call me and they could be in Fruitland and I'm like, I really don't service that area, but I can help you get to someone who can. However, I am actually, our 2 Judy Centers we partner with is Beaver Run Elementary School and Pemberton Elementary School. So those are the 2 Judy Centers that we work with and the families in those catchment areas. The partnerships, I probably have now over I'll say 20 partners, but on that partnership, we could have up to 40 to 50 people coming to a steering committee meeting from various different organizations.
I was going to ask you, who are the partners? Do you have any examples?
I do. So we have the Wicomico County Health Department, we have which is Local Management Board of Wicomico County, County Partnerships and Families. We have, of course, our Wicomico County Board of Education that we partner with. They actually hold our grant. Just thinking of a few, Personal Wellness Center. We have over 10 childcare partnerships that we partner with. And so we're talking about providing funding, additional funding to our childcare partners. We partner actually with the Lower Eastern Shore Resource Center and the Lower Shore Early Childhood Mental Health Consultation Program. Just wanted to plug that in there as well.
Without question.
Yes. So, and some of our apartment complexes, such as Pemberton Manor Apartments. And then one of our partners, a lot of people don't realize, we also partner, and I'll say not just one, but many, is our faith-based partners. So we partner with the church, I think it's Cross Point Nazarene, and we partner with Emmanuel at Salisbury with the Adopt a Block program.
Wonderful.
So many different partnerships.
That is truly a
many.
partnership throughout the county.
Yeah.
Without question.
And United Way, I want to plug that in too. We just gained their partnership this year.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you're growing.
We are growing.
Excellent. With the state of Maryland, I want to focus on this because this is a hot ticket item with this blueprint for Maryland's future. There's a lot of focus on R4K, I like these acronyms, Readiness for Kindergarten, and the KRA, Kindergarten Readiness Assessment. And now there seems to be a statewide theme, if you will, readiness matters.
Yes,
I've
it
heard
does.
that.
Yes.
What types of readiness skills do the Judy Centers provide to our
So-
students here?
And I'm glad you asked that question. Because a lot of times people think, okay, we've got to get these kids ready. Let's get them ready once they walk in the school door. Well, we know readiness starts in the womb. Very important. And so partnering with different agencies that Birth to Five, one of our other partners, we see children with disabilities. They are as young as 6 weeks old that we're able to get to see these families. We provide educational support in the homes of our children and of our family members. And that's where you really want to start to get them ready for a kindergarten. Okay, it's getting literacy in their hands, it's getting mathematics skills in their hands. The huge component that a lot of people are just now realizing this is important before we can throw any educational in their hands is social emotional foundations. It is so important. And so we provide what we call our learning parties, and they have many different components, but two that we really focus on, especially for our county, is literacy, language and literacy, and mathematics. And we've added in the social foundations component. And that's huge.
That's huge.
It is huge.
Yeah.
Especially when you're talking about getting them ready for school. And then we also work with our school system to provide funding to be able to support them with some of these activities like learning parties.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You also have some resources that you might want to share with our listening audience that they can acquire through the Judy Center.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Would you like to share them
Absolutely.
with us?
Absolutely. And I do want to say one more thing. One of the most important activities that we provide is our playgroups. So I think before we started this interview, I was talking a little bit about how I'm seeing an influx of moms and dads who have babies as early as 6 weeks old coming to our playgroups at both of our school sites. So both of our schools allow us to hold these playgroups there. And we also work with the public library too as well. So
Well, I'm a recreation advocate, so
Yes.
anything pertaining to social skills, which is
Yes.
so critical now,
Very important.
especially in this social media age that we live in, is welcomed.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Great.
So let me just show you. Our first one is our community resource guide. And so inside is a lot of different resources in our community. Again, this can be found on our Google site as well as our Facebook page. It's digitally, and you can also come and get a hard copy at 101 Long Avenue. Because a lot of parents will call us, or family members or caregivers will call and say, I'm trying to figure out where I can go for, let's just say if it's energy assistance, if it's housing assistance, if it's food, because now we're into another, what we call situation, and that is food insecurity. We have hold, and actually last night we had one at Pemberton. Tonight we'll have one at Beaver Run. It's called a food distribution, and so families can just drive around, and we put bags of food from the Maryland Food Bank in there. So again, all this is in there. What are we providing? Who are the partners that are able to provide that resource for you? So that's one thing I wanted to share with you as our resource guide.
Definitely.
Yes. And this year we created, with the help of my office associate, Ashley Summers, she just I said, Ashley, I really would love to see a magazine for the Judy Center. And so just with her creative skills, she was able to come with a magazine that is able to focus on many different things that are happening in Wicomico County. So even though we're a Judy Center in Beaver Run and Pemberton, we also want to share things that are happening throughout the county.
And these are resources that the public can acquire.
Yes.
You do have copies.
We do. And actually, if they were to go on our Facebook page, we do have a Facebook. It's Wicomico Judy Center, and they can find the magazine digitally. Okay. We also have some right in our office at 101 Long Avenue. They can stop by and pick up if they want a hand copy. This year, we did plug in their winter readiness. So there's like different tips that you can do to be ready for winter. It came fast.
It did.
And so what do you need in your home? What do you need when you're driving? So just trying to put that information in there. And then fun things that you can do while you're at home. Like one, I want to show you snowman in a jar. So just fun activities while you're home through the holiday season.
That's cute.
So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Great. Well, we appreciate having you.
Thank
and
you.
wish you the best
Thank
as we
you so
go
much.
into the year.
Thank you.
Joining me in the studio right now is our tandem from the Wicomico Day School, Mrs. Crystal Regals, who's the preschool director, and Mrs. Jenny Swikert, the administrative head. Ms. Regals is the preschool director at the Wicomico Day School. Is that correct?
Yes.
Please tell us a little bit about your preschool program at the Wicomico Day School and what kinds of activities and services you provide.
Okay, so we are a child care center associated with a private school. So our preschool is for children 6 weeks to 4-year-olds, and then our private school covers K4 through 8th grade. We have classrooms and are licensed for 105 preschool children, but our facility is licensed for and holds a capacity of 375 children. Wow. Our business hours are 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday, with specific class times depending on the ages of the children and what grade they're in, such as our infant and toddler classrooms are open 7:30 to 5:30. But then our 2s and 3s are anytime between 6:30 a.m. and 6 p.m.
Wow.
So, we offer full day program that includes a fun-filled day routine of, indoor learning and outdoor activities, meals, nap time, circle time, storytelling, art, music, all those fun activities for children to learn.
That's awesome.
It's a very busy, exciting day every day.
And
different.
structured nicely.
Yes.
I love it. Okay. I understand that you're one of the few preschool programs that were actually open and survived the COVID-19 pandemic. And so, having survived that and still in existence today, what are some of the challenges and observations that you have experienced in providing services to children and families post-COVID-19?
Yes, it have been some challenges. We were fortunate in that we were able to stay open when COVID first came into our world and shut a lot of things down. We were able to stay open and do childcare for what the state considered essential employees for the state. So for their children, we provided childcare. And so some of our children left us for a while and we got new children, and some of our children were able to stay. Now that things are back open and our classrooms are full, some of the challenges we're seeing is that when you're talking about preschool children, so children 3 and younger, this is their first public setting, let alone a classroom setting. They're coming in just not knowing what to expect, not being around a large group of people. So even just the noises and all of the sights that accompany a classroom have been overwhelming for some of these children. And then they have to figure out how to express those feelings of being overwhelmed. And then, you have to get them comfortable with that before you can even start trying to teach them social skills as far as sharing a toy or sitting for circle time for a story, those kinds of things. So you have to start with the very basics. A lot of them have been nowhere except with their parents, and in their house. So along with the social skills, teaching those from the basics, we also are experiencing a lot more illness than in previous years because they've been sheltered. They haven't been exposed to the daily germs and viruses that you do in a classroom setting. So even we have the same thing with some of our new staff who haven't been in a classroom setting. A lot of illness. They're very susceptible to catching, anything that might pass through just because their immunity isn't built up as strong as had been prior to COVID.
Wow. Do you have nurses as part of your staff?
We do not have nurses as part of our staff. We do have staff that are trained in what's called medication administration, and we do have CPR and first aid trainings, and so that teaches some illness. There are different classes that some staff take for continuing ed hours that will talk about different communicable diseases and different viruses and what to look for and how to treat those. So we do have some education in that, but we do not have a nurse on staff.
Okay, but you've survived.
We have survived.
And you're still moving forward.
We are still moving forward.
Yeah.
Yep. And just running every day as fun as ever.
Well, that's fantastic. And I thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Now, joining me is Miss Jeannie Swikert, the administrative head of the Wycomico Day School and one of my fellow colleagues with the Chamber's Education Committee Network. Welcome, Jeannie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great to have you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you bringing Miss Crystal Regals,
No problem.
your preschool director. And as we move forward, especially with respect to early childhood education, the big question, kindergarten readiness.
Yes.
Readiness matters.
Yes, it does.
Tell me, what types of readiness skills does the Wycomico Day School and your preschool program provide to your students?
All right. Well, we have kind of a twofold with that. Our youngest ones from infants through 2-year-olds are using a program called Teaching Strategies and Creative Curriculum. And that encompasses all the social, emotional, and physical, and all the development areas for the youngest of the group of children.
Okay.
And then for our older group, the 3 and 4-year-olds, we have a curriculum called Core Knowledge. And that is, will meet the same standards as the state is offering in that the program models a set of guidelines that describe the fundamental competencies and specific skills that the youngest children will need to have from 3 to 5 in order to succeed in kindergarten. Mm-hmm. And some of those things that they cover will be the physical well-being of the children, the motor development, the social and emotional development, including social skills like, how to sit at the table, please and thank you, and those kinds of things. And approaches to the learning of the good work habits. So, holding the pencil correctly, holding the crayon correctly, making sure if it's a handwriting activity that they are following the correct motor movement for those kinds of things. Also, language development in oral language, and also literacy, knowing what good literature stories are, starting with things like poems and rhymes and things like that. And then, of course, moving into fairy tales and things that are good stories that they can recognize and then carry on from those into other stories later on in kindergarten and beyond. They also have reading and writing skills and handwriting skills and storytelling, as I said. They also have mathematical reasoning skills, matching one-to-one correspondence. We have 3 beads here. Let's count them out, 1, 2, 3. We also match numbers to how many we have for things. So they have the number 6, and they've got to figure out what 6 things are, those kinds of things. So mathematical reasoning and number sense. Also time, is it morning, afternoon, evening, AM, PM, those kinds of things come into play. We have science and, of course, music and visual arts, too. So we have a well-rounded program with core knowledge.
Wow, practical life skills.
A lot of them. Well, you have to start with the basic foundation before you can go on to learning the other skills later on.
Do you encompass the parents and the families with the learning of these skills?
Oh, yes, definitely. As they move into the 4-year-old program, a lot of times they'll have homework, which they get very excited about once a week. And it might be an activity to take home where they have to trace a number or they have to read a story, those kinds of things that incorporate the families. That's just one example.
Okay. And then lastly, just curious, in terms of the percentage, if you will, of those that enter into your preschool program that continue and enter into Wycomico Day School versus those that come to the preschool program and then switch over and go into the public schools?
I don't know that I have a direct percentage for you, but so our 4-year class may have about 45 different students in there, and I would say more than half, maybe even close to 70 if I had to guess, 75. There's always movement. People are moving out of the area. People are also joining us and coming into the area. So there's a lot of movement in that respect. It depends also if they have an older sibling in our elementary or middle school program, and that will also determine they may stay for that advantage of having the same school, drop off at the same time, that kind of thing.
Just kind of curious about that. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you so much.
And sharing the information at Wycomico Day School, and wishing you the best always.
I wish you too. Thank you.
Well, this brings us to a close on our 3rd show episode. Please listen out for our next broadcast, where we will feature the educational topic, reading and math, 2 critical educational skills for achieving a healthy, wealthy life. Until then, remember, education is everybody's business.